down. This is their method of promoting them to us. There is a plan, and the part that really stuns me is the fact that people who can recognize these symbols that this Tony keeps continuously doing, and they realize that Bill is probably involved. The real problem, the critical linchpin here, is they don't realize that Trump is also a member of the same group, that they had the same plan. One thing that really concerns me is I believe the other day when he was calling for people to get out in the streets and to free these places, he wasn't the only one. It was also Fox. They were saying the same thing, that you need to get out and you need to fight. There was also Alex Jones. He was out there saying the same thing. All of these people are members of the same organization. They have the same plan. And one thing they were doing was probing our defenses. You know that Trump has begun investigations into what they call right-wing, I'm not even going to say the word, you can't use that word anymore, but he has begun investigating you. He told you to get out there, he asked you, and through various channels like Alex Jones or Q, they told you to make sure that you protest wearing masks. And you weren't supposed to because now they're watching you. They already know every single person who would stand up or who would stand in defense for this country. This is a plan, and it's going perfectly. And we are being used as pawns in their 4D chess match. We have nobody trying to stand for us in this plan. The reason I show you these images is because when you see people making this sign, this gesture, they're not saying okay, they are showing their allegiance. They have some sort of weird idea in their mind that they must warn their victims. They must inform their victims because they feel they get power from them. That's why we have The Simpsons explaining to us everything that's going on. Not because they're fortune tellers, but because they feel they must inform their victims. They didn't just predict that the man would be elected. They told us in advance that this man has been selected. Whenever he declared, they continuously spoke about his name over and over. They have a way to make sure whatever he says on a daily basis controls the national conversation. There's an ocean of people on one side arguing why it's wrong, an ocean of people on the other side arguing why it's right. If he mentions anything, people will go on and on about that all day until the next thing he says, waiting like on command. Does that sound to you like somebody they're really against? Because they're doing it wrong. There's no such thing as bad publicity. This woman is not being put down. She's not being buried. They're not trying to prevent you from hearing her. They want you to listen to her. They want you to listen to her because it's a part of the plan. And the plan is to make sure this affects as many people as humanly possible. There's also another plan. It's a worse plan. And it's to make sure that we destabilize this nation. Now, my belief as to why they're constantly against a man is just to do that, to divide us, to create chaos, and out of the ashes, they will arise with a new form. In order for them to make significant changes to the Constitution, they require us to become ungovernable. A couple of these methods of control that they've been utilizing would be Q. They've been focusing on the Bernie crowd, and now they're trying to divide us based on our color. Ask yourself, why would an anonymous insider that is promoted by Fox, and those doctors are promoted by Fox, think that it's a good thing to overthrow this nation? Do you understand that? Because if your man is the president, why would that make sense? And it's because they know, well, number one, they never intend for us to win. They are tracking you. They are probing our defenses. They are searching for you. They asked you to show up, show them who you are, and to make sure you are not wearing a mask. And we gave it to them. All they needed to do was ask. I do not believe we are going to be the same nation anymore. And I think the primary focus is the elderly. Hear me out. Not everyone is going to be gone from this. It's not like it's going to be everybody, but it is a perfect tool to focus on what they would consider the undesirables, the weak, the elderly, They have a ton of pension obligations, a ton of Social Security obligations. They just don't have the money. In the nations that you think are the best and were making the best sort of actions, they're really just the most controlled and dominated, and their populations were fed to this. Some nations reacted very differently, and they aggressively attempted to actually stop it. Now, the right has an older demographic, and by the time this is said and done, not everyone will be gone, but enough will be to be able to get their way, to get their action. What they want is to eliminate our liberties, and to do that, they need a wave. The younger generations, they want bigger government. They want Bernie. They're working very hard to make sure that they eradicate the right.
Do you identify more as a Democrat or a Republican?
Well, you'd be shocked if I said that in many cases I probably identify more as a Democrat. And I think you'd probably be shocked.
On social issues?
You know, it's interesting. I've been now around long. You know, I think of myself as a young guy, but I'm not so young anymore. And I've been around for a long time. And it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans.
And also that they identify and begin to track those who would stand in our defense. Believe it or not, the majority of people